Hi, I'm Michael Hardigan of oneskyastrology, and this video is going to take a look at some of the similarities and differences between astrology and astronomy. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is take a look at a really wonderful software program. It's an open source program, so it's free to download. It's called Stellarium, and this will show you the heavens as they are at the time. So this is real time. This is about 6:21 a.m. on Sunday, September 23rd, 2018. And the sun's just coming up, and this is what the heavens look like. It's not a visible planet, but the only visible with the naked eye, but the only planet in the upper heavens is actually Uranus. And we can zoom in as if we were looking with a very high-powered telescope. It's a really great program, but one of the things we can do is check out Constellation Boundaries. And we can see Uranus in Pisces, maybe just moving into Aquarius. And because this is the simulated heavens, we can get the ground out of here and see that the sun is nice in Virgo, and we've got Leo rising and Pisces setting or descending. The moon just set in Aquarius, and we can see that it's a gibbous moon approaching its fullness. It's going to be a full moon in Pisces tomorrow, early Pisces. So one of the things I've been hearing about is the upcoming full moon in Aries, and that's not going to happen. That full moon's tomorrow, and the moon just doesn't move that far in a day. So this is one of the problems I want to talk about, because if I had any kind of scientific basis for my understanding of the heavens, I might have a big problem with astrology. I might, let's say I was interested, and I cited Uranus here between Pisces and Aries, and then I went to take a look at an astrological readout. And this is a tropical zodiac, a tropical chart here of the heavens 5 minutes ago. And this is mainstream Western astrology. This is what we've inherited from the Greeks, and this is going to tell us that Uranus is in the constellation or the sign of Taurus. So Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, that the moon is in Pisces, and going to move into early Aries for this full moon because the sun is in Libra. Well, that would cause me, if I was a scientific person, one of those rationalists, to do a double take, because here's Libra and the sun is not there. Here's Pisces and the moon is not there. I can see that the moon is in Aquarius, and here's that double take. If I go and look, Aquarius, this tells me that Mars is in Aquarius, but if I go back and check the heavens, get my telescope out and orient it to Aquarius, I'm not going to see Mars. I'm not going to see Mars until I go over into Capricorn, and this is a real source of confusion and frustration for more scientifically minded people. the constellations gave their names to the zodiacal signs, and in ancient Greece, astrology wasn't even called astrology. It's kind of a modern term. Astrology was called divination by means of astronomy. So if it was divination by means of astronomy, wouldn't you want your zodiac and the heavens to match up? Well, in ancient Greece, they did match up, but from the time of, right around the time of Christ, and the time of Hipparchus of Rhodes, in I think that was the 2nd century BC, and Claudius Ptolemy in the 2nd century AD. There was a decision around that time made to orient the zodiac to the point where the sun rose, the point in the sky where the sun rose on the vernal equinox. Like if we look at this sunrise that's about to happen, we could, if this were the vernal equinox, we could orient this sunrise to, 5 degrees Virgo. I'm just making numbers up, but you get the point. They oriented the sunrise on the vernal equinox to 0 degrees Aries. And then, unfortunately, that drifted, that changed with the precession of the equinox. And we're now into the age of Pisces, and we're, in a couple hundred years going to be entering the age of Aquarius. And what that means is that Pisces is now on the horizon. The sun is rising in the constellation of Pisces during the vernal equinox, at the sunrise on the vernal equinox. It's very confusing. And this is something the Greeks did because they weren't really sure about precession, because Ptolemy and Hipparchus, like Aristotle, like a lot of great thinkers, were geocentrists. Actually, there was only one person in ancient Greece that we know about who figured it out. His name was Aristarchus of Samos, and nobody believed him. He figured out that the sun was a star like the other stars. He figured out the correct order of the planets. He figured out that the Earth rotated as it orbited the sun. And if he'd lived long enough, he might have figured out axial precession. Although we're still figuring axial precession out today. If you want a really interesting theory, check out Dr. William Brown of Colorado State University. And this guy has some amazing data that our sun is actually in a binary star system with Sirius, that the two of them kind of orbit each other, and that's what's causing axial precession. Great theory, check it out. So let's get back to our astrology. This is one of the reasons I practice true sidereal astrology, because let's go back here to the sunrise that's about to happen and look at the sun. The sun is in Virgo. Now that's science. And if I look here and see that the sun is in Libra, I'm going to really not give credence to astrology. I'm going to, as an academic or a scientist, I might, say, no, that's pseudoscience. That's new age nonsense. That's hippie BS. But I'm going to switch these zodiacs now to a true sidereal zodiac. And here we have a true sidereal zodiac. And a true sidereal zodiac is orienting its sign boundaries to the precise size and location of the constellations. And here I can see, well, there's the sun right in Virgo where we left it when we were looking in the actual sky. And here's the moon in Aquarius where it was, if you remember. There's the moon squarely in Aquarius. Definitely not anywhere else. There's no real debate about which constellation the moon is in right now, and it's right here in the middle of the sign. So that's nice. That gives me a lot of faith. In ancient Greece, astrology wasn't the name for what this was. They called it divination by means of astronomy. Divination by means of astronomy. So it's really important, I feel, for the accuracy of it, for the scientific validity of it, for the future of it, the future of astrology, that we get back to the astronomical basis of it. And we get back to, the original roots of it, where we got our ideas about, where humanity got our ideas about the moving bodies and the constellations and the relationship between those energies that were exerted from the heavens and the unfolding of events here on Earth. I think that given that the equinox is only going to continue to proceed, it's just a matter of time before people are forced to come to terms with the limitations of the tropical zodiac. In 13,000 years, they're going to tell you that Aries people are actually Librans, and if you were born and the sun was in Libra, they're going to tell you, well, you're in Aries, and that's apples and orange soda. That's the only thing that those two have in common are they're both zodiac signs. And I'm exaggerating to give it flavor, but that's really, these are opposite signs. Virgo and Pisces have so little to do with each other. You can't confuse them. You really shouldn't be off by a whole 24 degrees. It's just, it's interesting. At the time of Claudius Ptolemy in the 2nd century AD, they actually, the tropical zodiac and the heavens did line up precisely. So 0 degrees Aries was actually where the sun rose on the vernal equinox at that time. It was they were moving from the age of Aries into the age of Pisces, and again, that's a moving point. That's the equinox, where the sunrise and the equinox is a moving point. It's not a fixed point. Every 26,000 years they match up. The two are the same. So in 13,000 years, it's going to be exactly backwards, and then in 26,000 years, it's going to have come the whole way around. And it'll be accurate for 72 years. Again, it'll be accurate. But I think entering into the age of Aquarius, we have a short shelf life for tropical astrology. I think people are going to want to understand an accurate map. I think people are going to want to see this map, a Western sidereal map or a true sidereal map, which is, in my experience, the most accurate readings I've ever given or received, and it's an astronomically accurate map, which could lead to, thorough, just more exhaustive scientific examination of astrology. Because I think if you look at astrology with through the lens of scientific inquiry, you do find important and actionable data. So that's all I want to say for now. Just another video about true sidereal. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.